No. Good morning, good afternoon, happy Thursday, happy December. Okay, we are just letting a couple people in. So awesome, guys. Welcome to the first training of the last month of the year. So just on that note, what can anybody tell me about that? Anybody? Am I alone in the room?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
We are at the first training of the last month of the year. What does that tell anybody else? Thank you, Timothy. Don't give up in December. So yes, 10 points to Gryffindor. And yes, we are at the busiest time of year for all of us. I mean, I can tell you that today is Thursday and I have been nonstop all week. Half the things on my to-do list have not gotten done yet, and that's fine because that tells me that I've been very, very busy and that I've been active and that I've been working with clients and working with agents and still trying to get things done. And yes, all of us have things that are going on in our personal lives. You know, at 10:30 last night, I was helping my mother decorate the Christmas tree. So, you know, we all have things going on, but that doesn't mean that we can just close shop on our business. You know, some of us have a day job and some of us don't. We're full-time working for ourselves. But if you had a 9-to-5 corporate America job, could you just give up in December? Anybody?
No, you couldn't.
No, you'd have to take time off to do that. And for those of us who are independently employed, that we work for ourselves, you know, to take time off in December, we're not making money, we're not helping our clients. So we need to make sure that we're still doing everything that we can do to reach that finish line, to finish the year strong. And yes, all of us have things going on in our lives. And yes, there are always times for all of us that we need time off. And you know what? Week of Christmas, guys, I very much understand that people are going to take time off and you know, spend time with family, spend time with friends, do something fun, unwind. You cannot work 24/7, 365. You'll kill yourself. You don't want to burn out completely, but just make sure that it's a holiday and not a holly year. So yeah, that being said, one of the things I wanted to go over today was, I know we've been talking a lot about the software and building out clients and all of those things. But something else I wanted to give you guys as an arrow in your quiver is the household profit and loss statement. I feel like it's been a while since we've gone over this last. And let me just bring up my software and then I will share my screen. Okay. Share. Can everybody see the LifePlan 360 logo?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And thank you to those of you who are here. And I know a couple of you have had other things going on in your life, so thank you for taking the time for this. So we're going to go to clients, view clients. I've got a few dummy clients built out in here that we can look at. So we will look at this one. Okay. So most of us have seen this page before, yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. So this is the end of the first appointment. So we've gone through the introduction. We've gone through step one when we figure out what it is that the client is trying to achieve. We've gone through step two to talk about, this is the mind shift page. This is the, oh my God, I am saving solely for retirement, but I need to afford everything else that's going to happen in my life before then. That's this page. This page is we're building the plan. And this is we're going to prove that it works. So when we get here, we're probably an hour to an hour and a half into our first appointment, and our client has just glassed over for two reasons. One, they are on information overload, and they just cannot process any more information. And two, because we have just turned everything that they thought that they were doing well on its ear and made it look 10 times better. So that being said, let me just admit people. At this point, we are sending our client home. And by that, usually ending the Zoom. And we're giving them homework. Like I give you guys homework. They have to sit down either with themselves or with their spouse or partner or whomever it is, and actually have a conversation and have a think about, could this work for us? What would it do for us? Is there anything I don't understand? Is there anything that I feel that I want to change, that I want to see differently? And keep in mind, guys, we have not talked about any product at all at this point. All we've talked about is straight math and concept, and how do we look at the numbers differently, and what do the numbers mean? So at this point, one of the other things I do for my clients as part of their homework is I give them the household profit and loss statement. Does anybody know what a household profit and loss statement is by another word? Anybody?
Budget.
It's a budget. 10 points to Gryffindor. Yes, it's a budget, quite frankly, because we've just changed everything about their life. And for people who have been here before, what is something that I never talk about with people, ever?
Budget.
Budget. I never talk about budget. I don't care what their cable bill is. That's not my business. I look at the known quantities, and I look at what we know that they're doing every single month so that we can reallocate these dollars and make sure that they are doing their job. We want our dollars to work as hard for us as we do for them. Does that make sense? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, and this is for anybody who has not seen this yet. This is Parkinson's Law number 2, that expenses will rise to match the available income. So when we pay something off, either grab those dollars and give them a new job, or they disappear into the ethos, never to be seen or heard from again. Has anybody heard idle hands are the devil's playthings? If you've been here before, you probably have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Idle money works the same way. If you don't harness it, it will find a new job, but it might not be achieving your financial goals. So we're trying to harness those dollars. So as I said, I never, ever, ever talk about budget with a client unless they ask me to. If they tell me that they are purging money, let me just admit some people. If they tell me that they are purging money and they don't know how to get a hold of this, we're going to go through the household profit and loss statement. If they don't tell me that they are purging money, I'm still going to give it to them as homework, just as something that they can work on themselves, that this is something that's an exercise for them to help them get around Parkinson's Law number 2. because I don't care what their cable bill is. Whatever they spend on cell phones a year is their business, not mine. If they are comfortable with these numbers, great, I'm happy for you. But it's an opportunity for them to go through their lifestyle, their household profit, their household loss, and figure out where their money is going and if their dollars are working hard for them. So now I'm going to bring up the household profit and loss statement. So can everybody see this? Maybe I should make it a little bit bigger because it probably looks like an eye chart. Okay, can everybody see it?
Yep.
Okay, great. So everything is going to get put in here. You know, they'll put in their income, they'll put in whatever it is that they're spending on their mortgage or rent, their phone, electricity, their car, Netflix, what they're spending on loans and personal debt, you know, homeowners insurance, health insurance, etc. They're going to differentiate between what they're spending on groceries and how much they're spending dining out. You know, what are their pets costing them? What are they giving to their church? How much is going into their savings account or other investments? And let me just admit really quick. Actually, can I make, sorry, bear with me one quick second. Kathy, I've just made you co-host. Do you mind watching the waiting room? Thank you.
No problem.
Awesome. So back to what I was saying. So the only number on this entire spreadsheet that I care about as a financial consultant is this box right here. Difference. Can anybody tell me why?
I would say you want to definitely know about the difference, so you'll know if the customer or if the client has a lot of differences every month, that if they're having projected shortages, that's gonna give you a clue to say what's the first thing that they're gonna kick out if they're having a difference somewhere else. You want to make sure you can discuss that with them.
Yep, that is a very good reason, and that is one of the reasons that I look at difference. So the reason that I tell clients is because they want to be looking at difference. Because if this difference is negative, they're purging money and they're going into more debt. And that's something that they need to consider. And if they're comfortable with that, I'm happy for them. If they are not comfortable with that, we can talk about potential solutions. If this number is positive, that tells me that they have idle money that is going to fall victim to Parkinson's Law number 2. And that money needs a job so that it is achieving their financial goals. So this is a great way for people who are savers to find more money in their lifestyle to build their plan with. And I've had clients come back to me at the end of this exercise and say, I'm spending $600 a month on coffee. And what would be my response to that?
You wouldn't want to change their lifestyle. You would just say, you know, hey, you know, if you're comfortable with spending $600 a month on coffee, you know, that's fine. But, you know, maybe you want to look at, you know, some other ways that you can pay for that, or, you know, you would try to suggest this, you know, nicely to say, hey, you know, you are spending too much on coffee. Can you make it at home?
Well, close. Watch the body language on this. I'm spending $600 a month on coffee. Their body language tells me that they're clearly uncomfortable with it. The tone of their voice is like they have anxiety about the fact that they've now done this exercise and they're spending a significant portion of their total income on coffee. And this particular client was a client that we couldn't get out of debt right away, but their current plan was to be out of debt in 27 years. By making one minor change, we got them out of debt in a projected 27 years to a projected 4 years. And, they come to me like this, I'm spending $600 a month on coffee. My response to them is, okay, are you comfortable spending $600 a month on coffee? And now they have to think about that question and respond. So no, I'm not comfortable spending that much money on coffee. Okay, well, let's brainstorm about this. My job here is to help them be comfortable with their lifestyle, with their household profit and loss. So, okay, do you have a coffee maker at home? Yeah, I have a really nice coffee maker. Okay. First off, how did we get to spending $600 a month on coffee? Where is that coming from? Oh, well, I go to Dunkin' Donuts twice a day. Okay. So if you have a coffee maker at home, could maybe we cut that back to once a day and buy the packets of coffee from Dunkin' Donuts and make it at home for the second time a day? Sorry, I'm just muting some people. Guys, if you have background noise, please mind that. So, yeah, so little things like this, but it's a conversation. Notice that they're leading this conversation. All I'm doing is offering things up. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Okay. Something else that has come through here. I've had people come back to me and be like, I'm spending $127 on subscription services that I don't even use anymore. What would be my response there?
Get rid of them.
Yeah, have you canceled them yet? And it's amazing. People hadn't considered that.
Mhm.
That they can actually cancel subscription services that they don't need. So sometimes it's just a matter of talking it through with people. There are a couple of things that people are not going to be comfortable with their spending on. And it's just one of these things that there's nothing we can do about it. So, whatever their mortgage or their rent is, for most of us across the country, is going to be higher than we are comfortable with. But we live where we live. And if there's nothing, we can ask them, is there anything that you can do about this number? And they will say yes or no. And if the answer is no, why are we worrying about it? If there's nothing we can do to change it, why are we worrying about it? Does that make sense to people?
Sure.
Like, let's focus on the things that we can adjust in our lives as opposed to the things that we can't. Because just concentrating on that, we're going to get mired down, and sooner or later we're now down a rabbit hole. So we're going to move on from that number. And it's just like, if there's nothing we can do, we will set that aside and come to the things that we can fix or choose to make adjustments. Also, going through this exercise, I don't actually go through this exercise with every single client, but I do have them go through it as either by themselves if they are a single person, or as a couple or a family, depending on their personal situation, to make sure that they know. It's not important that we know, it's important that they know. And that's a very important distinction, because we are giving them power. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. We are giving them the power to have knowledge of what is going on in their financial life, the power to have control over what is going on in their financial life, and the power to choose how to direct their financial life. That's a lot of power, guys.
Yep.
Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
It does.
Yeah. So by giving them this exercise, notice that if we look down here, it's January, February, March, April, May, etc. I generally recommend that a client go back in their their records, their bank accounts, their credit cards, etc., 3 to 6 months and do a back test on this exercise, and that they keep a rolling file going forward for at least 3 to 6 months, just for their own housekeeping purposes, just so that they know, what their trend is. And you're going to have people come to you and say, okay, but there are things that I only pay once a year. Okay, that's fine. Well, how do I put that in the spreadsheet? Okay, you have 2 options. One, you can take that annual payment, if it covers the whole year, and divide by 12 and put it in as a monthly thing. Just make a note that you only pay it in, say, October. Or you can put it in October, if that's when the payment is, and make sure that your other accounts, say your savings account or whatever account that's coming out of, is having that extra balance to make sure that that payment is covered in October when it comes due. Does that make sense?
Right, yeah.
Okay. So this difference is to make sure that we are keeping everything. I mean, everybody's going to have a negative at some point. It happens. There are very few of us that don't. But considering that this is the first training of the last month of the year, I especially wanted to go through this because I have a question for you guys. How many people have done Christmas shopping already? Anybody?
Not me.
Okay. How many people are planning on doing Christmas shopping?
Mm,
My chat box. There's got to be people talking to me in the chat and I'm ignoring them.
Are you referring to the persons on the phone or?
Yeah, you guys.
Oh, not I. I've already canceled Christmas.
You've already canceled Christmas. Okay. Most of us are not canceling Christmas. So we've got halfway. Yes. Yeah. Planning. Okay, great. How many of us have a Christmas fund?
Oh, no, that's old school.
Not necessarily a Christmas club at your bank.
Right.
Just they have a certain amount of
Oh,
money
you're saving.
somewhere
I got you.
allotted for Christmas that they already have, not using a credit card.
I do.
Awesome. You are of the very small minority on that. Most people don't. So this exercise is a great way to plan for that throughout the year on how to do that. And for those of us who already have our insurance banks, we can do that through our insurance bank. We can save it all year long. And then come November, December, whenever we do our Christmas shopping, some people like doing it on Christmas Eve. We have that money available to us to go do our shopping. And then we put it back for the rest of the year. Or you can put it in ahead of time and have it there when you need it in December. Does that make sense?
Excellent.
It does.
So basically, this exercise is very apropos, both for our clients all year round and in truth for us, especially at this time of year, because it becomes very of the moment. And keeping track of these things over time, we're going to see what we're spending money on, that all of a sudden we're going to be like, oh my God, I'm spending $600 a month on coffee. And most of us are not spending $600 a month on coffee. But I know we've talked about this in previous trainings, but what is the cost of convenience?
Mm,
So let's say you are, in general, a planner. You plan out your meals, and I'm the kind of crazy that I get out a spreadsheet and on Saturday morning, I figure out our meals for the entire week. You know, breakfast, lunch, dinner, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, I'm that kind of crazy. I then take out a second spreadsheet and figure out what ingredients I'm going to need to buy from the store to fulfill on those meals that I have planned. Most people do not do this. Most
no.
people go to the store and they're like, oh yeah, we don't have any pasta, I'll grab some of this. We don't have any lettuce, I'll grab some of that. And then they figure out what they're going to make for the week.
Mhm.
But, and even that's a little bit of planning ahead. You're planning on making dinner at home, which is generally less expensive than eating out. Are we all in agreement on that?
Oh, no question.
Yeah. So what happens Wednesday night? You got stuck at the office late and you are tired and you got a flat tire and you got home and you had to let the dog out and now it's 6:30 and you haven't even started making dinner yet. What happens?
TVs.
You go out.
Yep.
You go out. You just cannot be asked and you go out to dinner. So what does that cost you to go out to dinner?
Too much money.
How much?
$50.
$50 for everyone in your house.
Yep,
Oh,
not
my goodness.
$50.
Okay, great. So let's think about that. If we did that once a month, it only happens to us once a month because we're really, really good at planning. Okay. $50 times 12.
600.
That's $600. But keep in mind that we are also planners. So what happens to the ingredients that we purchased for dinner that we're not making?
They go bad.
They go bad. So let's say that that is $15. Anybody agree with that?
Perfectly.
Okay, great. So $15 of ingredients times 12 months is 180 plus $600. $780 a year. What could you do with that?
Car maintenance.
Car maintenance?
Yeah,
Could anybody go away for a weekend with that?
yeah.
Right.
I know I could.
Yeah.
You know, so this is what convenience is costing us. Now let's say that we're not planners. We kind of just, you know, this is what convenience is costing us as planners.
Mm.
If we're not planners and we're just figuring it out as we go along, if you guys, let's say that you get lunch out every day that you're at work. What does that cost?
More than dinner.
More than dinner?
You know, Greg and I actually had this conversation yesterday because we went to go to this one restaurant we've been trying to get to, and on Tuesdays they're closed. So we ended up at another one and spent $35 for two of us because we were after the lunch special.
Okay.
And then the next day, yesterday, we went to the restaurant we've been trying to go to because they were back open and spent another $35. So that's $70 in 2 days.
Wow.
Okay.
So
Let's say that you go to the pizza place down the street from your office every day for lunch. What does that cost?
$10 if you're not buying a whole pizza.
Okay, $10 per day times 5 days a week
Mhm.
times, let's call it 48 weeks a year that you're actually in the office. You spent $2,400 a year on lunch, and that's a conservative estimate.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I much more agree with you, Tim. We were out for the day, like we had planned on eating out this particular day, and we went to a pizza place, and I got a salad, and it cost me $17
Ooh,
for a salad.
rabbit food.
Yeah, it was a ridiculous. So imagine if I was spending $17 a day every single day that I'm at work. So convenient versus if you were packing a lunch, what would it cost you?
There's still that weekly budget of food that you just purchased.
Exactly. So for my husband and I, our weekly food budget for all of our meals is about $200. So this is just what we're spending on lunch if one of us goes out for lunch every single day that we're working. So if we, that's too much, times, let's say the same 48 weeks a year, because we're not going to include vacations. So eating out is costing us 1/4 as much as all of our food budget if we're not. And I'm not saying, guys, that you should never eat out. I'm saying that you should be aware of it. Be aware of where your money is going. Because, you know, somebody who is making $250,000 a year probably isn't going to care about a $17 salad once a month. Somebody who's making $50,000 a year very well might. But the people who are making $50,000 a year, at least in my experience, are far less likely to have the knowledge that they need to achieve their financial goals and to actually look at their full financial picture and evaluate their choices. Because when we think about our financial future, choice is a very, very key word. Choice is something that you make when you have several options, you evaluate them, and you pick one. So when we, just blindly go through life and we act, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a choice. A choice is conscious. We have chosen to do something. We have picked this option. An action is just something that we do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does everybody see the relevance to a household profit and loss statement?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, good. So that being said, this is an exercise I give to every single client that they should, I don't care what your cable bill is. I don't care how many times a month you go out. And honestly, it's healthy for your relationships if you have a date night. That's a fact. But we need to be prepared for this so that when things like the car breaking down or the water heater dying, or I don't know, whatever emergency could possibly happen, happens because it's Murphy's Law. Anything that can happen will happen at the worst possible time. So when Murphy's Law happens, we are prepared for this. And we're not looking at our budget going, I'm completely tapped and I have nowhere to go from this. So with this exercise, there are two different ways to approach it. You've got a client who you know is a saver, who has plenty of money to start their bank, but they can do this exercise and they might come up with more. You never know, but you've given them power. As a bonus, you've given them power. You've given them control. And then you have the client who maybe isn't ready for a bank right this minute. Maybe they're a younger client. Maybe they have some debt. Maybe life has happened to them and they just don't know how to do this. And it's going to take them 6 months to a year to be ready for a bank. You can see that. They probably can't. So this is a great exercise to, again, give them the same things. You're giving them control. You're giving them power. You're giving them education. And you're giving them a place to have a center, to have organization, to have the ability to look at their life month over month and see what choices they are making, if they even are making choices, and have the ability to go back. If they are not choosing, they're just acting, they can take those actions and actually make choices to improve their financial life, which prepares them to create a bank, which prepares them to have achievement in their financial goals. Does that make sense? Does it not make sense? I can,
Yes, it does.
okay, good. I just want to make sure that everybody is on the same page. So I actually thought this was going to take a whole lot longer than it did. Does anybody have any questions at this point?
Hi, Kendra, this is David.
Hi, how are
Um,
you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Look, I'm just ready for access to all of it.
Yes, exactly. So this spreadsheet I can actually send to you. So send me an email and I'll send you the spreadsheet.
Okay, definitely.
So, yeah, let me put my email in the chat. I can financial.com. If I could spell my own email address, that would be very useful. Okay, so yeah, I've just put my email in the chat. So anybody who needs the spreadsheet, let me know and I will send it to you. Does anybody have any questions about anything that we have gone over either today or in the past, or has a question about a client that they're working with, or a question in general? Anybody? Opening up the floor for questions.
Kendra, this is Giselle. I have a quick
Yeah.
question. We have one of our clients, their daughter called, and she's about to graduate from college, but she had some money she's been saving up, and she says she wanted to invest it. I sent her over the book and told her to read it, and we're getting together next week. Do we just use the money that she saved? Let's go ahead and start a bank. Her only debt at this point is student loan debt, which she's
Mhm.
going to be for a while. But do we just take whatever it is she's got? Let's start our bank, and then she goes from there. She could pay that first year annual and then prepare for the second year. Is that?
I would run her through the software,
Yes.
honestly. So, because she's just graduated from college, right?
Correct.
She is graduating or
She's-
just graduated?
She'll graduate in May.
She'll graduate in May. So she
Mhm.
doesn't have a job yet.
No,
Okay.
saved up money from odd things that she's done over the years.
Does she know what she should be making when she does get a job? What is her degree?
Psychology. No,
So is she finishing her master's program or her bachelor's?
finishing her bachelor's.
She's finishing her bachelor's. Is she planning on getting a master's?
Not at this point, no.
Okay. So do you know what she's planning on doing?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Again, so this is one of those more complicated clients that I mentioned, because this person has a lot of moving parts. So at this point, is she planning on continuing to live with mom and dad, or is she planning on moving out and getting her own place?
No, she'll stay with mom and dad for a while.
Okay, so we know that her rent will be low.
Mm-hmm.
Does she have a car payment?
No,
Okay. Does she pay for her own phone?
probably not. I don't. Okay, so we need to go through what is she paying?
Exactly. So this is one of those clients that I might actually start out with this spreadsheet,
Oh, okay.
because she wants to invest this money, but she also needs to understand what her household profit and loss is. She needs to figure out her lifestyle, her financial obligations. Does she even know what her repayment schedule is going to look like for those student loans?
No. Mm-mm. Doesn't look at any.
And with a psychology degree, that's not a
Fully employable.
not to be mean, but to be frank with people, it's not one of those degrees that people are going to be recruiting you 6 months before you graduate.
Right.
So, she then needs to find a job. So this is something that I might walk through with her. And you know, build this out, because she's 6 months from graduation. She's what, 22 years old?
She's 23.
23. She's 23 years old. So the cost of insurance actually on her is going to be very, very low. Do you know if she has any insurance now?
She's currently on her parents' insurance. She's on,
So she is the child on a child rider?
right.
Okay, so she at least has that until she is how old?
25.
25, great. So she does have coverage right
Mhm.
now. But if she wanted something that is her own, you could look at something like a 10-year term that is fully convertible to a bank.
Okay.
And the 10-year term that Foresters has is fully convertible to a bank. And one of the side benefits is that whatever rating she gets when she applies for the 10-year term, that will carry over when she does the conversion.
Okay.
So I've actually run a bunch of these recently. So where did my mouse go? If I pull this up. Do I have Foresters open? I do have Foresters open. Give it a second. Your term. Not now. Female, 23. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that she's not a smoker.
Yes.
Okay, so just for kicks and giggles, yeah, sure, we'll go with $500,000, 10-year term.
Okay.
And we'll say that it's monthly. So
$25 a month.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's $25 a month,
Mhm.
or just under $300 a year,
Mhm.
for $500,000
Okay.
of death benefit. And
Okay.
that would be fully convertible to a whole life policy.
Mhm.
So if we were building an actual bank on her, change product. Okay, death benefit and funding. Did I put that in as medical or not? Yes, I did. Non-MAC permanent face blend. We will keep it at monthly. And we're gonna say that she'll save, what, 500 a month?
Well, I know she doesn't have 500 a month to save. Let's say 200.
Well, not right now, when she actually
Oh.
graduates and gets a job.
Okay, 500. Okay.
Yeah, but we're talking about the conversion.
Oh, afterwards. Okay.
Yeah, she needs to graduate, get a job, build her lifestyle, and then we can start the bank.
Okay.
So, yeah, so we can do that just for the sake of argument.
Mhm.
And we're gonna do this. And we'll put a 20-year term on it. Okay. At a glance. So the initial face premium is $73,000.
Mhm.
So that 500 is easily convertible. And on this example, her full death benefit is less than that 10-year term that we just ran.
Mhm. Right.
So it doesn't even need to go back to underwriting. It's just a conversion form.
Okay. Alrighty. Perfect.
So it is something that she can do for herself. So at this is something that we would need to look at, because at a $73,000 initial face amount,
Mhm.
she's actually not eligible for above standard rating. But we can adjust the numbers based on a number of things, Or
Mhm.
if we just adjusted the initial face amount to $100,000 and then adjusted the term. We could see how that played out. There's a number, this is just a very, very quick
Okay,
illustration to kind of prove a point, if
right.
that makes sense,
Yes, it does.
that it is possible. But
Okay.
where she is so young, I would probably start out here. Because she's like, I have money right now. Oh, that's
Right.
something else that you could put into that illustration. Do you know approximately how much she has?
Just $1,500.
$1,500. Awesome. $1,500. Come on. Year one. At a glance. Yeah. So that bumps up the initial face amount to almost $90,000.
Mm-hmm.
It also builds space in the bank.
Okay,
So if she did have more than the $500 a month that she wanted to put away, it doesn't build a ton of space, but she's 23 years old.
right, okay.
So the chances that she's going to be able to go through the rest of her life with the first bank that she ever built, she's probably going to need another one at some point.
Right,
But
and we encourage it.
precisely. But at this point, she's put what, like 61,
60,000.
yeah, plus the 1,500, so 61.50, yeah, something like that. And she's got on a guaranteed basis,
62.
$62,000 of cash value, much
Mhm.
more likely to be in the realm of 67. So she's building an actual asset that she can leverage,
Mhm.
when she wants to buy a house in 5 years, she'll have
It's
money
30,000.
toward a down payment.
That's definitely more than she would probably have in a mutual fund.
And this is something that is guaranteeable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whereas with anything in the mutual fund, it might work out, it might not. You could lose the entire thing. And that, especially with younger clients who don't understand the ramifications of risk, because they've never had to pay bills, they don't understand how the stock market works, they don't understand the ups and downs of everything. Giving them anything that has any sort of risk in it,
Mm-hmm.
I'm very uncomfortable with that, because they don't understand what they're doing. So,
Right.
yeah, something like this, if it's very much, if you do this,
Huh?
I can promise you this.
Mm-hmm.
Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yes, totally.
So that is how I would approach this client, but I would very likely start here.
The household profit loss. Okay.
Yeah, the household profit and loss, so that
She can
even
see-
if she's not paying her own phone bill, she's not paying for rent. I mean, she is going to be paying for something by herself.
Right.
So
Even if not, it opens up the door for her thinking, oh, that's right. One day I got to pay this stuff.
exactly. That's exactly it. And, these things will happen. And that's something else that you can start thinking about right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't have a paycheck, but these are the things that I want to do. I know that I can stay on mom and dad's phone plan, but maybe I should start contributing to that. It's going to cost me X number of dollars a month.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
let's say it's going to cost us $50 a month for phone. Let's say we want to get an apartment. We know we can't afford our own apartment, but what if we got a 2-bedroom with our best friend Susie? What's that going to cost us? It's probably going to cost, I don't know, you're in California, I don't know what right out there is going to be.
A one bedroom's 1,800.
A 1-bedroom is 1,800. Okay, so fine, we'll go with that. And she's going to split the bedroom with Susie, which is not
Right.
that different from being in college. So we're going to say that that's $900 a month, and electric, just for the sake of argument, that's going to be another, what, like $40 a month?
30, 40. Mm-hmm.
30, great. And cable, they're going to have cable, $100 a month.
Mm-hmm.
$100 a month. Maintenance and repairs, they should always plan for something. So $25 a month. You know, if she has a car, we're assuming that, does she have a car?
It's paid for. Her
It's
car's
paid for. Great. But she still has gas.
Yeah. She has gas, she has insurance, she has maintenance on the car.
Right. And she's 23, so it's probably expensive and it's California. So
$250.
$250.
Yeah.
Awesome. And fuel,
Probably $150 a month.
$150 a month.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Tolls.
I'm pretty sure I spend close to $150 a month, and you're in California and I drive a Prius.
No, she got a Corolla.
Yeah, she's probably spending more than that, but we'll start there. You know,
Might as well.
groceries. Let's say she's spending $600 a month on groceries. We're gonna say that she's not planning on dining out, which isn't gonna happen, but there it is. So we're gonna go with just these things. She needs to be making $2,100 a month after tax just to do this.
Wow. Okay.
So again, guys, this is a great tool for your younger clients, for your clients' children, for them to get a taste of real life.
Mhm.
So, you know, when we have kids who are graduating high school, graduating college, I can do it by myself because everybody at 18 thinks they can.
Right.
Can you? Like, do a Google search, guys. You know, and make them do it. Make them do a Google search on how much it's going to cost them to have their own apartment, to pay for their own phone, to pay for their own gas, to pay for their own insurance, you know, all these things so that they can target their lifestyle before they have it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And, you know, if we have a financial goal of, I want to buy a house when I'm 25, okay, that's 2 years from now. How are we getting there? How much money do you have to be saving to come up with a down payment for the house that you want?
Right.
Hey, Kendra.
Yeah.
Something that kids coming out of school that are still gonna live at home, so to speak, might want to do is do exactly what you've done, create this budget. And even if they're not spending that money now, they should put it aside because eventually they're going to. Now they're in
Right.
the habit of doing that.
Yep.
Mhm.
And that's actually something I have heard from parents, that when their kid graduates from college and moves back home, they start charging that kid rent.
Collect the rent. Mhm.
Yeah. But here's the caveat on that. We're talking families that don't need it, that it's not that big of a deal, that their kid is still living at home. But to that kid, it's a big deal because now they're getting a taste for real life. And I've actually had parents do this, that they collect the rent from the child and they put that money aside. So when that kid finally does want to go out, buy a house, live on their own, whatever, they have like $10,000 or $15,000 in an account that it's like, this is what you've paid us in rent. Now you have money for a down payment,
Mhm.
or at least
Yeah.
money to put toward a down payment.
Right. Yeah. I've heard of that also, that parents have done that.
Yeah. It's food for thought.
Yes. Thank you.
So hopefully that's helpful.
It's very, thank you.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? I know we're coming up to the top of the hour. Okay. So if nobody has any further questions, please feel free to reach out to me if you have questions, comments, concerns, need help with a client, need help with the builds, need access to one of the spreadsheets or anything else. Please feel free to let me know.
Kendra,
Yeah.
could you make that statement about a while back? You said something about power to the client, taking back power, or what was that
Yes.
statement?
Yes, that you're giving your client power. you're giving them control over their finances. You are giving them control over where their money is going. You're giving them control over their spending, and you're giving them choice. That they
Thank you.
have the ability to choose how their money is directed. They can see it all in front of them. So now they have the ability to look at it critically and decide if they like these things. Yes or no? Are we comfortable with this? If yes, great, move on. If no, they have the opportunity to go in and dig deeper and make more choices about places that things could be different. So
Thank
you're
you.
giving them power and choice is really what it is. Okay. Does anybody else have any other last minute questions? We've got a couple minutes left, or we can adjourn a couple minutes early. It's really up to you guys.
Adjourn.
Okay, great. So,
Nobody's saying nothing.
yeah, exactly. I'm always fine with getting 3 minutes back in my day. All right. Well, happy Thursday. Happy December. Get on the software. Make sure that you're registering for boot camp March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and definitely participate in the contests. The contests are highly lucrative, and it's a great way to really jumpstart your business. So and let me know if you need help with any of those things. So with that, I wish you guys a happy weekend, and I will see you all same time next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.